So I'm delighted to introduce another webinar in our series in partnership with Clockwork. And last time we had a really informative session on three sort of key areas or trends for 2024, sort of high level, looking at where we should be really focusing our hotel marketing efforts. In this particular session, we're doing a deep dive into the website in particular. So the title being The Anatomy of the Perfect Hotel Website, all with the premise of growing that direct channel. So if I might ask Clockwork to share their screen. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Harry Fielder. I'm the chair of the Hotel Marketing Association, and I'm joined by Mark and Pete from Clockwork, who I'm sure will introduce themselves shortly anyway. But just before we do launch into the session, I want to just make you all aware of the Hotel Marketing Awards. It's the 29th year of the Hotel Marketing Awards, so it has been going for nearly 3 decades, and we've secured our venue at Ham Yard Hotel in London on the 18th of June. The entries of the awards close at the end of February, so you now have exactly a month, a short month, to get your submissions in. But the awards is really the pillar of the year for the HMA. You know, one of our core values as an association is to celebrate and champion best practice and celebrate the successes of the hotel marketing industry. And so this year we have the largest number of categories we've ever had. There are 11 categories, and you can see them on the right-hand side there on the slide. So we have best website, best local community marketing, email marketing campaign of the year, social media campaign of the year, most creative content marketing, best partnership marketing, integrated marketing, marketing innovation of the year, best hotel marketing agency, best hotel marketing team internally, and also a rising star. So I have no doubt that many of you watching will fit into one or more of those categories. It's we had a record level of submissions, and I had a fantastic attendance last year, and it was a really, really great event. So I thoroughly encourage you to check out the link that Pete, you've kindly just put into the chat there. Obviously the link's on the screen as well. Just go and have a look about the judging criteria, the entry forms, just so you can either work directly with your team or with your PR agency or marketing agency to get those submissions in. It's a wonderful celebration of everything that we're trying to achieve as a hotel marketing industry. So so yes, any questions, just reach out through the HMA website or through I think you can ask our support questions through the HMA website as well. So or indeed put anything in the chat if you want to. So I'll pass over to Pete and Mark now, who will be taking us through this exciting session on what is the perfect hotel website.
Thanks very much, Harry, and welcome to the webinar. Many thanks for taking time today to join us. Do introduce yourself in the chat, say hello, and any questions that come into your head, pop them in at any time, but we'll come back to them at the end of the session. I'm Pete Stevens. I'm head of marketing at Clockwork Marketing. Today's webinar, as Harry said, is part of a series, the second in a series that we're running in partnership with the Hotel Marketing Association. So after today, look out for the emails to sign up to the next ones. We've got one on email marketing and then getting found in Google. We're going to share the link for that. 45% of travelers feel comfortable booking trips on their mobile. So going on holiday is lovely and enjoyable and relaxing, but it's often the opposite of the booking a holiday. Many people find quite difficult and a bit of a chore. Poor website experiences and booking engines push people into online travel agents, OTAs. So we're going to look at what you can do about this. So for the next hour, to help you get most value from our session, to help you focus, it'd be great if you could switch off notifications and put your phone on silent. After today, we hope you'll end up knowing how to create a high converting website. Through Clockwork Marketing's community, we help to build confidence and enable people to deliver great results.
Brilliant. Well, good morning. My name is Mark. I sort of lead and head up the learning community and very much involved helping other hospitality businesses to be successful in their strategy, giving them that confidence that Pete was talking about. So if you have been on one of our webinars before, you know that we like to start off with a game of word association. So hoping that the chat is working. So please do use that. So I'm going to just start to get our sort of brains engaged, a bit of using the chat, and I'm going to say 3 words, and then if you just pop into the chat what it makes you think of, that would be fantastic. So the first word we're going to go with is mobile phones. What does mobile phones, what does that make you think of? Please do pop it into the chat. Hopefully you'll see. Brilliant. Yeah, they're coming in. Always ever present. Yeah, Instagram, iPhone. We've all got one in our pocket or within an arm's reach. Attention, that's a very good one. Well then, Vicky, that's good. Friends, fantastic, yeah. And distraction as well. Attention and distraction, yeah. Okay, very good. And then the second word is UK staycation. What does that make you think of? If I said to you, UK staycation, does it make you think of anything in particular? Jargon, dog walks, family holidays. Yeah. All this sort of UK weather coming out. Brilliant, yeah. Okay, and then final word is websites. What does websites make you think of? Hopefully everyone on the call this morning works for a business or represents businesses that have their own websites. Yeah, so starting to get you to think about your own context this morning and what that looks like. So we've got a few here, bit of frustration, direct bookings, online shopping, frustration, it's your online business card, your customer window, a lot of work. Yeah, so some of these might be some challenges that you face. Some of them are sort of outcomes that you really want from your website. Yeah, Harry, underappreciated, very much so. So we're going to be touching on some of these things later. So my final bit of engagement is this last question on the chat, just to start off with. Where was the last place that you booked to stay? And this is a key point. How easy was it to book? If you pop it into the chat, if you stayed in the UK, if you stayed abroad, where you stayed, how did you book it? Was it online? Was it a phone call? Was it through an OTA? There we go. We've got some saying it was very easy, super easy. OTA. And yeah, book direct. Airbnb. Very easy. Booking.com. Yeah. Okay, very interesting. So thank you very much for that bit of engagement. Really helpful. I hope it just gives you a little bit of an idea of the words that you're floating around, and hopefully we'll see how that plays into what we're going to be touching on later in today's session, thinking about how we can drive more people to your website to make direct bookings, and how you can make it as easy as booking on those OTAs as well, and how that you can prevent barriers to get people to go off to the places where it is a lot easier. So as Pete mentioned, we're Clockwork Marketing. We've been helping businesses for 30 years, specifically within hospitality marketing, to help them grow their online visibility and their direct bookings. So today we're sharing on these webinars our insights, our knowledge, our experience with you, so that you can benefit too and apply it to your context and situation. Really great to see a good number of you on the call this morning. And some that have joined our calls previously recognize some of the names on there. And you know, you are in the right place if you are looking to drive more direct bookings. You are planning for the year ahead to have a strategy that really impacts 2024. All of these different things, if they're outcomes, then we're hopefully going to touch on some actions that you can do to your website that will help and turn sort of the direction of maybe where you're currently at, or just to give yourself a little bit more of a boost. So I'm going to pass back over to Pete. We're going to jump into today's content.
direct booking strategy is focused on driving new bookings, new customers to your website, and then engaging them with great content and finally converting them to a guest via your booking engine. On the first webinar in the series, we highlighted these three elements of a direct booking strategy. Today, we're going to look in the middle part, the funnel, how your website forms a core part of the customer journey to conversion. So after your building and start, your website, in my opinion, is the most important asset that you have. You wouldn't let your building fall into disrepair, so you shouldn't let your website fail too either. Typically, in the industry, we see 70% of visitors to a website using a mobile. So your website needs to be mobile first. This means designed and optimized to work fantastically on a mobile. It needs to be fast for two reasons. So that the user gets the experience they want. No one likes waiting for a website to load. And secondly, to help you ranking in Google. Website speed is a ranking factor in Google. So if your website's slow, your rankings will suffer. You can check your website speed using Google PageSpeed Insights tool. We'll share a link and talk about that later. On the screen, you can see one of our typical clients with a score of 90 out of 100 for their mobile. So check out your score after the webinar, and then you can see how it compares to the industry. We've published some benchmarking in a recent report in partnership with the AA, and you can see how you compare against others in the industry. Best performing websites allow you to display different content on different devices. Like this example from our client, St. Michael's Resort. So you can see the mobile on the left looks completely different to the tablet, number 2, which is different again to 3 and 4. It's all the same website, just managed different content in different ways. It's important to find the right balance when crafting your website between making it technically sound for Google with fast loading times and a great user experience for people. So ultimately, guests are your focus and they make the purchases. So you must position your website to them. So add personality, make it engaging with great words, imagery, and aesthetics. We see Google prioritizing this user experience too. And here's a key tip. Make it easy for your guests to know what to do next. So when they're on a page, signpost the thing you want them to do. A simple button works really well, just book now. We'll talk more about that later.
Great, thanks, Pete. So Pete's just introduced what we were talking about on our previous call about websites being built for performance, but also being designed for beauty. So balancing between those two things and really pulling those aspects together and inspiring guests to book on your website. Yeah, we need to think about how people behave and what makes bookers click. So just to quickly look into how our brains work. Just want to really pull out these 3 areas. So we have a part of the brain which manages the primal things, which is all of our survival and our sort of reproduction, which is why hospitality is pretty well suited to it. A lot of things around like food and sex is all put into that. So think about those romantic breaks. Packages work very well for that reason in the primal sense. The rational is very much where our reasoning comes from, where we make judgment calls or decisive things based on facts. And then the final one is the emotional, which is all linked to the limbic part of our brains, which is all emotional response. So it's really deep set intuition. And after price, we know there's loads of studies out there on human behavior which say that after price, people buy based on how they feel at a particular time. And also, storytelling. People remember stories 22 times more than facts. It's why there's a much more connectivity involved in it. So thinking about how we can apply this understanding of human behavior into our websites and our marketing through our websites to then inspire people to book is really, really important. So you want to be making people feel something regardless. If people are indifferent to your website, that is the worst outcome because they're just sort of going to be a bit meh. You want them either to really like you or maybe to not. You know, ideally you want more people to like you, but you have to make them feel something and give them that sort of emotional response. And so our main tools or creative tools for doing this is through imagery, video, and words. Sure, you can do images on beds and bars and your tables, your restaurants, because these are all your facilities, but actually you can use other imagery like this. Thinking about how the feeling of water running through your fingers, or the sand between your toes, or the hot cup of coffee in your hands, these things can create a feeling in a much quicker way and a lot easier than words can. So really think about how you do that. And part of using that also is that you can sell the benefits over the features. So really, again, appealing to the sort of emotional part of the brain rather than just the rational. Sure, your guests will have a mixture of both, but think about how you are doing that on your website with benefit-driven copy throughout. You know, what is the benefit to the guest? How will the guest feel? Perhaps it might be an exercise that you want to do to go away and say, this is how we want people to feel when they stay at our property. And then also, if you have facilities and you don't know how to pull out the benefit, you can use this so what analogy or questioning that we usually have. So if you have a state-of-the-art spa or hydro pool, just say, so what? What is the benefit to the guest? How is it going to make them feel? Use that within your copy to sell those features in a much more appealing way. So here's an example of where this property, they're foodies, they like good food, and so they're appealing to guests of the similar values. And so everything that they've done is lean towards the copy where, you know, they're saying we identify with you too, and that's why we use fresh local produce. So they're not just saying we have a restaurant that does this. We are, you know, a fresh local produce. We're foodies. We care about these things because we know you care about them too. So again, making sure that people can connect on a level, and it's really not too difficult to do that. I'll give you an example here of a hotel restaurant that has used feature focused copy. So they're talking about the facts. So I'm going to read it out. Open all hours, whether you are looking for a leisurely breakfast from 7:15 up to 10, delightful afternoon tea between 2:30 until 5, or a brasserie dinner from 6 until 9. Or just pop in for coffee and sandwiches and a glass of wine and sit in our light, airy restaurant with sweeping views across Mounts Bay. When you have something to celebrate, a wedding, a party, a birth, anniversary, or a Friday, let us help you have a lovely time. A lot of facts in there about timing, which is great. Sure, people want to know about those things, but let's have a look at how they change this to make it more benefit driven. Award-winning dining in Penzance. The Bay Restaurant offers 2 AA Rosette dining. Delight in the best local Cornish produce overlooking the sparkling seas of Mount Bay. The large patio doors and Edwardian architecture provide light and understated grandeur to dining inside. Outside, you are protected by our sail shade and surrounded by a vista from the Med. Now, in that previous version of the copy, they didn't even mention that they were 2 AA Rosette awarded restaurant. They completely missed that. They were focusing just on the facts of when people wanted to be there, rather than actually selling their property and their place as a destination for foodies, for people who like good food, and also talking about their positioning overlooking the bay. So there's just an example of how you can flip a featured-based copy to benefit-driven. And think about your hotel website or your business website. Is it very fact-driven, or is there a way that you can weave more benefits into it?
I cannot overstate the importance of great professional photography to showcase your property. Okay, it's not talking about snaps on your phone. Really good eye-catching photos. So, not what I'm talking about. You know, this is some terrible photography, and I'm afraid we see it quite a lot. Bare, empty, stark, brown, toilet. I mean, who's taking a photo of a toilet? Hopefully this isn't your style. Isn't this nicer? You know, well lit and homely. You know, it just looks really inviting. Although they do still have creases on the bed, which is a bit of a bugbear of us. And great photography and a great website can really lift your business. So we're going to just show you a few examples of, you know, sites that we've built where, you know, we inherited one not very good site and made it far better. Hopefully your sites don't look like the befores too much. So here's the first one, Donington Grove in Newbury. This is what it used to look like. Now it's like this. Discover a magical escape. Lakeside Spa Holidays in the Cotswolds. Very old site. Now, much brighter, fresher. We also integrated their booking engine with their API, so all the bookings in the same place. Here's the Bedford Hotel in Devon. Very imposing looking building. Very unimposing website before we did it. They're looking much neater now, much more impactful. And here's a property called the Moat House in Staffordshire or Stafford. There's photos of their kind of their reception area on their old website. You know, much more appealing website now. So as well as having fantastic websites, these guys all have great photography. Which, I mean, it just sells them all. I think all these properties you're thinking probably, oh, what am I going there? Whereas the previous websites, that wasn't your overarching opinion. Here's another one. I mean, it's a bit of a throwback, this one, but yeah, that was a pretty terrible site for Kilcam Lodge in the Highlands, Scottish Highlands. Websites like this now, you know, really positions the property. The property is the building now on the right. Previously was no indication that the property was a stone's throw from an amazing lock. Now that's very key and clear.
I don't know about you, but you know, the thing that really sort of jumped out at me is how first impressions really matter when you come to a website. On our previous webinar, we actually mentioned from a case study or a report actually done by Microsoft that the attention span of people averaged to about 8 seconds. So that first 8 seconds is hugely important to get their attention, which is probably why you see a lot of YouTube videos start with a really quick, snappy something, and then it jumps into it because they're trying to grab you really quick. And, you know, a lot of these websites, that first impression lasts. So making sure, as Pete said earlier, you wouldn't let your building sort of fall into that sort of place. So don't let your website either. Harry and I were talking about the sort of difference between how maybe people view the physical assets versus the digital assets. So really important that you have got that sort of lasting impression there. Didn't know if you had anything, Harry, to say on that.
Yeah, I think a couple of things. One on the imagery piece. I think the investment in good quality content now very much spans way more than just a website. I think, you know, investing in good content creation it now has a much bigger impact in your digital advertising. So various digital advertising channels such as, you know, social media ads, display ads on Google, everything. Far more of that is leaning towards visual elements now. You know, a lot of the new campaign types that Google and social media advertising are kind of favoring are the richer mediums. And so while it might seem, you know, if you look at the investment just in the website and content, you know, yes, it's still a good investment, but actually there's going to be so many applications of that content across the entire marketing funnel, not just the website these days. And I'd say even more so important than ever before, really. Yeah, so that would probably be my comment there.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I think very much we see that with Google's sort of algorithm updates as well, focusing on content-driven approach and strategy. So thinking about how that plays into other areas of search engine marketing as well within your website, because You know, you could have your website's a lovely boat, a sailboat, but you know, search engine marketing can really push the wind into the sails to really make it go further. So all of that stuff is very content driven. So as you say, Harry, really important. And then part of all of that content really does come to underpinning with a fantastic content management system. So, you know, what we say is behind every brilliant website is a brilliant content management system. And what we talk about on a very broad range, you know, different types of content, of course, and different types of media that you can use. We just simply want to put it to either static content or fresh content. So the stuff that doesn't really change that much, you know, I'm hoping no one's got a walking hotel that goes up and moves somewhere else. It might be a thing of the future, I'm not too sure. But, you know, they're details that stay the same. They're on your website. Your branding sort of messaging mostly stays the same. There will be some gift vouchers maybe that you sell, which are monetary, that stay the same. And so that's fine. There is elements of your fresh content. You know, we work in the hospitality industry, so there's a lot of seasonality to it as well. Making sure that you're using seasonal imagery, you're updating your packages to reflect the data that we shared on the previous webinar, you know, people's motivations, who they want to go away with, what they want to do. All of that stuff changes seasonally. So that is fresh content that you always need to be adding. And again, that's something that Google will look at in its criteria for ranking you. And, you know, blogs are a great way of doing that too. And speaking to your customers, speaking to your guests, you know, communicating with them through articles. So yeah, making sure that you have a solid content management system to manage all of that in an easy way. This is a content management system that we have, a hospitality specific one, all built for managing it. At the end of the day, it's you that's going to be using this. So as long as it's easy, it's robust, it's fit for purpose, and it helps you to drive your bookings, this is all the stuff that underpins it, you know. And there's loads of different content management systems out there, and we have different opinions on them. But you know, finding the right one to suit you is really important. So
I might also add, Mark, that you know, you might have the same content management system, but it can be deployed in so many different ways. And if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. So for example, you know, there are amazing implementations of WordPress and there are terrible implementations of WordPress. Similarly, there's, you know, with Joomla and Drupal and all of these, there are, you know, they can work for different people, but also they can be deployed in very, very different ways from the outset as well. So just because you might have the same content management system as someone else, if you are using one of these sort of open source mass market ones, they can take on very, very different forms depending on how they were set up originally. So I'll just say that as well.
Yeah. Fantastic. And then yeah, so talking about updating content, I've just had a few examples here in terms of properties that have been doing that. So Sopwell House have updated their hero image to reflect sort of the winter season. So very nice, sort of showing the winter sun popping up over the snow-covered sort of front of the property. So hopefully you update or have a selection of photography, and again, an investment perhaps to go away and look at your seasonal photography, build up a bank or a library of your own photography. Really important. So you can do stuff like that. They've got a pop-up as well on their Valentine's content. So again, promoting their packages, their offers, and I'm sure hopefully a lot of you on the call are doing that. But just thinking about that in advance, giving yourself enough lead time so that you're prepared for it. You know, if you probably want to be thinking about spring, summer, should be having spring stuff out already, you know, and people will have their Christmas stuff with it being popular already. You know, as soon as Christmas 2023 finishes, they got eyes on 24 already. Here's an example of a property that is matched up the package to the imagery as well. So a winter golf experience, very much targeted at people for that time of the year. And they've got a very nice image here of the green, all frost covered as well. You know, something that people do look for and want to do. So they've matched it up very well with refreshed content on that. Gleneagles, there you go. They're looking at spring already. So they've got their Easter breaks, their May breaks, and I think they've also got February half term further up. But again, the content reflects it. So although maybe you look outside the window and think, well, it's a bit grey or it's a bit wet or a bit cold, think about the expectation you're trying to sell to people, what people can see. So they're using the nice spring sun, the green colours, and this will all be photography that they've built up, and which you can look at building up to.
So on our last webinar, we spent some time presenting trends for bookers and how we recommend you package your property. And we thought we'd share a few more examples because we didn't have much time last time. So these are examples we found that really, really connect, we think, with what current trends are, what people are looking for, using the right words and imagery. So we started off, we showed this one last time, but I think it's such a good one, so I thought I'd reshare it. Such a unique offer. Saddle, Spa and Castle, that is such a great experience that I haven't seen anywhere else, or very few other places offering that kind of package. Here's another one from St Michael's again, used them already today. Package is called Be Free. It's a really nice, enticing name. It's not just a functional, part of the break, 3 for 2. They're really using elements of freedom in their package. And just on a technical point, you need to be mindful of your heading structure, using this as either a span class or heading class for your search engine activity. So Michael's positioned this offer well, using the location and benefits to the guest. Here's another one from the Nisi in Bournemouth with a great title, Chill at the Nisi. And lovely imagery, obviously a winter image with low sun, but super enticing. And I'm going to read out the first few words. Take cover from the rain, hide away from the cold and shelter from the wind. 'Tis the season for cozy getaways to while away those wintry months. So the question is, how will you winter? Yeah, great. I mean, putting together everything we talked about so far in the last few webinars. Great photos, great benefit-driven copy, completely targeting to the trends that we talked about last time. And here's another one, a Little Explorers package targeted at families. There are a few things more precious than time with a family. When the sun comes up, it's time to pack up and get away together, tots to teens in tow. Great copy again there, completely leveraging the emotion.
Great, thanks, Pete. And then in terms of directing people to that action, Pete mentioned earlier about that sort of really sort of important tip is to direct people. Earlier on in the sort of warm-up sort of activity, a lot of you were saying how easy it was. You want to make it easy for people to navigate across your site. You don't want to make, holidays hopefully should be relaxing. They shouldn't be stressful. So it starts really with their first touch point on your website. Make it easy. Watergate Bay have done that within their navigation structure. So if I'm looking specifically to go away and do stuff, I can click on the what to do navigation, which opens up to a whole range of different things. They've also done that with who's coming. So if I know that, I'm a solo traveler, I can click on the solo travelers little section for me. So they've really targeted their audience, who they want to be going for and who generally stays. And they've made it really easy to navigate people through to that. On a separate note, it's really good for SEO as well, for being found in Google. Really targeting and making landing pages for those particular ones. You can use really high intent key phrases. So high intent people that are looking to go to Cornwall, are looking to go in a couple, and are looking to do these things. You can really target and use the right key phrases in your content too, whilst also appealing to the benefits of those things. So a really good example there in terms of navigation. Here's a really simple change you can do to a button. So as Pete said, we can use simple ones like a book now, a find out more, discover more. These are all great. And, a lot of them are sort of like see rooms or view rooms. What Cotswold Grange have done is they've really made it sort of a bit of ownership, a bit more active sort of call to action. So rather than it just being like see room, it's like choose room, choose your room. Take a bit of ownership that you are now going to step into sort of the booking funnel and start to make that active decision. So really small little tweak, but really sort of clever to get people to do the thing that you sort of want them to do. Consider your brand as well in terms of what you want to achieve from people. So this is the artist residence. I just had a look at the Brighton property. Their first call to action on their homepage is to view gallery. They want their guests to look at the gallery first and the rooms. And they are a very aesthetic led and, you know, decor driven property. You know, they've got really unique rooms. And so what they want is they want people to see it first. They're the sort of people they're attracting. But they've always got the book now button available, which is really, really good. So they can always make that decision to go straight through to the booking engine. Right, okay, we're coming towards the end of what we're looking at. And so all of those elements we've covered in terms of the performance, the technical, the things that underpin the engine room, I would say, of the website, and then, you know, the aesthetics, the bodywork of the car, of your website, all of that can be measured so that you can see if it's working, what's doing well, what needs to be improved. This is a really, really fundamental part if you want to drive more direct bookings. Your website is, you know, really important asset to you, as Pete alluded to, in terms of boosting more direct bookings and putting more profit into your pocket. So from a website speed point of view, Pete's going to share a link. We use PageSpeed Insights, which is a Google tool. There are loads of other tools out there that you can use to test your web speed. We tend to lean towards Google. They've got a big market share of the search engine in the UK, search engine users. So they've got 94% sort of coverage of that. And what PageSpeed Insights will do is it will measure the performance of your website on a mobile device, and it will give you a different score for your desktop. It is a web page tester, so it's not your whole website. Each page will have a different score and a different speed. So you need to make sure that you're optimizing this and improving it so that it has got quick loading speed. From a technical point of view, as Pete alluded to, it is part of Google's ranking criteria now for search engine optimization. So Google have over 200 plus different ranking factors, all with different weighted values. And they added in this user experience element, which was their Core Web Vitals assessment. And there's 3 elements of the test that you have to pass in order for them to say, this is a quick functioning website. We're more likely to show this in the results page to people. So making sure that you pass those tests is also shown on this tool. So you can test to see if you pass those yourself. From a Google point of view, yes, you can test online as well. As an agency, we use professional tools that give us a lot of visibility and clarity into how your website is found in search engines. And you can use that to monitor your overall site health, any errors, anything that's not working against it, and how that can appear in the search results too. So perhaps there might be some tools that you find online. They will give you a very limited view. If you really need help with the technical stuff, you probably want to consult with an expert in that area.
So making sure your booking engine is being tracked in Google Analytics is also vital to understand you're making the money through which marketing channels. So you can connect your booking engine up. As you may well know, Google Analytics changed middle of last year to a new version, although it had been available for a couple of years. Still super buggy, but it broadly works in the same way. And there is pretty much the same data in there, just all slightly worded differently. You've got to find it in a different way. And it's sort of displayed a bit more cleanly. But it's so essential to understand which channel at a very broad level is driving what revenue, as shown here, but then you can dive into each bit and understand which, for example, email, which we're going to be talking about next webinar, which emails are working really well, or which social posts are working really well. As well as partnering with the HMA, we also partner with the AA and Visit England assessment services. And so we're we help brief the inspectors at their inspector conference every year on how to assess websites. The inspectors are fantastic at inspecting in the property, but we're trying to give them more tools for their pre-visit. So this is content that I've shared with them, you know, so they know how to look at websites as well. So a lot of this is what we just told you as well already, but just to highlight the fact, if you are, in an assessment period, then this is what the assessors may well be looking at. And we've broken it down into two areas: quantitative, the stuff you can measure, and it's on the screen there, and the qualitative, other areas that are harder to measure, but things we've been talking about quite a lot today around photography, benefit-driven copy, emotional photography, clear booking buttons. I mean, it's all the things that we've talked about already. Clockwork, we do quite a lot of benchmarking as well, because we only work in the hospitality industry. So we see a lot of data for people in that industry in the UK. And it's really important to us. But as a property or working in a property, it's very hard to know what good looks like. And, you can look at your data, but it's like, well, is that any good? Even if you are tracking, how do you know how well it's performing? You can always turn to providers like us if you want help understanding where you sit on benchmarks. So we do benchmarks for booking engines, although we don't sell them. We just see loads of them, all of them. And this chart is showing engagement on our website, kind of what we've been talking about today. And the left-hand end is the good end, where people are looking at more pages on our website, a lower bounce rate, and very broadly, the ones on the left-hand end, the better performing ones, they're just the newer ones, which are mobile first, modern, fast, high performing.
Great, thanks, Pete. Yeah, so in all of that stuff with reviewing your website, you can get a free hospitality website review. I've popped a link into the chat, so if you do want that, we can do one for you quickly in terms of a brief overview, and then give you some specifics in terms of what we think through that. For some of you who are using Google Analytics 4, if you're thinking, hey, Pete, you've got bounce on there. I don't see bounce on my reports. So Google do an opposite, Google Analytics 4 do an opposite one called engagement rate, which is basically the flip, but they introduce bounce back in. So the way that you can do that is to click the pen in the icon in the corner of your reports, and then you can add in the metric for bounce rate again, if you're used to that one. So all of those things that we've spoken about today, I hope that you've sort of looked at that through the lens of your website, your context, thinking about, yes, is our website doing this? Is it achieving what we want it to achieve? Do we need to do this? Do we need to do that? So it'd be really good just to see in the chat what most of you are sort of thinking about in terms of what you perhaps are going to go away from today. Think about on your website, what needs to be looked at, what needs to be tested. Do you need to add more benefit-driven copy? Do you need to do this? So please do pop any sort of thoughts into the chat quickly now if you're able to. Be really good to see where everyone's at. It also helps, all the other peers in the industry to sort of know that you're in the same sort of boat in that way. So please do pop those in the chat. If you're able to, that'd be great. If you're sort of unsure on what it is that you want to take away from today, we are recording the session, so that will be available later on. So yeah, a lot of people saying better imagery and leading with more benefit in the copy, faster performance, great, better imagery. Yeah, I think those are really great comments there. So yeah, for those that are unsure, here's some stuff that we've put down to think of. So if there is nothing that you're sort of thinking about, take this away and think about this. So the initial impact of your website, what first impression does it make on you? Share it with your colleagues, share it with your friends, your family. What initial impact does it make? Really take on that feedback and then bring that to things that you can influence and change. Lead with the benefits over features. Sure, features are great. Talk about them where they need to be talked about, but we need to be able to appeal to guests' emotions, appeal to the things that are sort of instinct reactions, the things that make people feel something. Use standout imagery of all seasons. So if you're saying we need better imagery, go away, look at photographers in the area, consult other agencies who know photographers who do that sort of stuff, and plan in times when you can do that. Building up your bank of photography is so important. And then make sure that your packages are central. So lead people in your website to those packages. They're the things that OTAs cannot provide. And so using clear navigation, clear call to actions to make them and lead them to do the things that you sort of want them to do, all wrapped up in sort of the imagery, the user experience, the journey. And then measure it all, see how it works. Does that work? Does it not work? For some businesses out there, something will work, and then for others it won't. So you need to make sure that you're testing this stuff in the way that you're doing it, so then you can know what works for you and with your individual success in mind.
Great, just about finished, and we've got a few questions to answer in a moment. But for those thinking of upgrading their website, Clockwork Marketing offer a range of solutions. Who knew? Bespoke websites, for those who want something beautifully crafted to match their business, when you can integrate with the API for your booking engine. We also do a rental option, which is a bit more flexible model, but still has beautiful design and all the hospitality features that we think you'll need. And members get a discount on those, so that's great. 20% discount. That's super cool. Do contact us if you need anything around there. Hope you found today's webinar super useful. We've got another couple coming up end of February, beginning of March, so you'll be getting email links around about those. Someone asked on the chat about recordings from last one and this one. They're going to come out. Sorry about the delay. They should be out pretty soon. I think Harry's still there, and just wanted to talk about the awards again, and then we'll come to questions. Harry's not there.
Well, I think I am here. Yes, no, it was. I think most people have. Pretty much everyone that started the webinar is still here, so I won't necessarily bang on too much about it. But yes, please do take a look at the awards categories. Very, very exciting. Got a great venue, and there's the categories are, I think, more creative and more a wider selection than we've ever had. So I'm sure there'll be something in there to fit whatever you want to enter, and to celebrate whatever you've been up to. But thank you so much, Pete. Thank you so much, Mark, for taking us through all of that. It's been really informative. I think the use of visual comparisons of what's good, what's bad is always very valuable to see, and certainly by just having exposure to more to sites that either you've built or examples that you've put forward, certainly will just give people other ideas, really. And I think a lot of people will take away value in unexpected ways. Certain connections of, I like that particular module. Let's draw from it and go forward. For me, I think the benefit driven copy is a really powerful one. I think we're so focused on sort of being led into the e-commerce mentality of features and prices and various things, which is fine, but really the key weapon against, or the key differentiating factor in respect of the online travel agents is the ability to sell an experience and not a commoditized thing. You're not just limited to to the copy that the OTAs give you, plus a small thumbnail image and a price. We have that opportunity to really communicate our experience, and that benefit-driven copy is such a good anchor point for that. So I think that was a really, really valuable point that I'm sure a lot of people take away from. But yes, thanks once again to Pete and Mark. As you saw, there was a slide about the upcoming webinars. I'm sure if you've heard about this one, you'll be contacted by email or on LinkedIn or whatever about registering for the upcoming ones. Maybe you've even registered already. I'm not quite sure if the link is out yet for registration, but yes, you'll certainly be contacted with all of that information. But let's wrap that up here. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you very much for your attendance. It's been great to see some engagement in the chat as well. So we'll catch you all on the next one.